All right. Good morning, Scorpio. I hope everyone's doing well. Good evening if you're happening to tune in from Europe or beyond. Pardon the band-aid on my face. A little bit of an accident this morning as I was shaving. Mercury retrograde shadow in effect. Today we'll still be kind of going through some of the issues from that retrograde period. This reading, however, is basically helping you with the next 6 to 8 weeks. So a lot of what we're going to be looking at here is really for November. But for the rest of this month, we're still going to have a little bit of that retrograde energy. So I'm here to help you navigate that. This is my little friend here, Apollo, helping us kind of bring in the energy, the new day or the new evening with a sense of joy. He helps everything feel a little bit better. All right, buddy, let's get started. As I said, my name is Nicholas Ashbaugh. Today we're going to be looking at Scorpio. This can be used for your sun, your rising, and also for your moon sign. Again, for the next 6 to 8 weeks. And the way that I organize this, I'm going to pull over my schedule here just so I can go through it, is in a few major sections. We'll begin with channeled messages, which I have on my table here and I was working on as I was getting prepared for today. Then we'll go into the Celtic Cross, and the Celtic Cross gives you a chance to go a little bit deeper and see what other energetic opportunities might be coming through. And I always allow that to just be open. Whatever spirit wants to bring through, I allow it to bring that through. And then we'll look at health, wealth, love, and destiny as we go a little bit deeper into the possibilities. And each one of those gives us a different lens on what we're seeing. After that, I will go into like the big idea, which is just showing us what the big sort of opportunity was this month. And then we'll go into a new section, which is blessings and blocks. So something to really embrace and something to navigate around or something to release, okay? And after that, I usually turn the tables and allow you to vote for something that I see as a big energetic opportunity as well. So you can kind of look at 2 or 3 things and vote on it. I'll probably look at something there that I call soul path. And then after that, we'll meditate and I'll look at a final question that you might have for me. That's the overall outline for what we're doing today. And that's enough for us to kind of get started. I don't take questions live. But like I said, if you have a specific question that for some reason I don't have a chance to answer, if you just hold it until the end, meditate on it, I'll pull a final card that will hopefully answer that for you. A couple of quick pieces of business and then we'll get into this. First and foremost, I'm really close to a big milestone. So if you've never subscribed, please consider doing that. I've noticed that over 70% of the people that tune into the channel don't subscribe. I think it's because the word subscribe somehow suggests that you're obligated to do something. You're not. It's just follow or like, basically, like you would be doing on another network. So if you like what you see here, subscribe. It helps me. And once I hit 300,000, I will do a special video. So we're really close to that. Hit the thumbs up while you're watching if you can. That also helps people discover it. If you happen to watch on replay, you can show gratitude by clicking on thanks. And if you'd like to give back right now, a way for you to show support, as we see Warrior Sisters of Light Michelle doing, is through this little button here, right by the smiley face. And from there, you can join the channel so that you can vote and ask questions on Q&As. And you can also have cool emojis and just know that you're helping out the channel. So anyway, if you want to give back through super chats and super stickers, I will say thank you at the very end. I'll also welcome any new channel members at the end. All right, with that being said, let's talk about your spirit totem for today, which was sage. And sage is a kind of general term, but typically when we think of that, I'll show you a little bit of sage that I have here in my house. I was particularly looking at white sage, just because that's a little bit easier here in the Southwest to get. So this is something that I use to smudge with, but you can also use a myriad of things. So we'll talk about that in just a second here, but let's bring up some images of sage. And as I was looking at what it, we always just see the leaves, but it's actually a really nice plant for pollinators, particularly bees. And I think the scientific name, even just one of the names, is bee sage. So this is kind of what it looks like in the wild. And if we look at the little close-up here, you can see that it's actually quite nice for bees and for pollinators. So that was a fun fact that I didn't quite know about sage, because we always just get the dried up version of it. You don't necessarily see the beautiful flowers. So as we come out of Mercury retrograde, which just ended yesterday, today we're reading on the 18th. It ended on October 17th. So for November, when you're looking at this forecast for when it's effective, you should be fine. But for those of you watching now and traveling through the last couple weeks of the month, then you're going to have to navigate through at least one more week of, just tying up some loose ends. But it should get increasingly more and more sort of like easier, welcoming, a little bit less stressful as the weeks pass on here. So Sage came through as a reminder for us to release old patterns, energetic patterns, anything that's kind of making us feel stuck, anything that's kind of weighing us down a little bit. And sometimes we can hold on to something, even if it has traveled out of our life in some way, shape, or form. So this is a reminder today, whenever you're watching this. So whether it is live here on October 18th, or you're watching it, in the middle of November or the end of November, it doesn't matter. Today is the day that you're going to make a decision that it's going to be a clean slate, that it's going to get better. Don't let one little thing, whether it's a cut and a scrape or something like that, hold you back. The show goes on, that we have to keep moving, and that's kind of how it works here. Fun fact with sage, by the way, it's one of several herbs that can be used to smudge and clear energy. Some of the other choices are cedar, sweetgrass, lavender, copal, frankincense, myrrh, and Palo Santo. You want to always make sure that you're getting ethically sourced, and I would also say making sure that it's sustainably sourced resources when you buy this. I'll show you Palo Santo. I actually have some that's kind of like, I don't have the stick. I use these little chips that you can put on a little piece of charcoal. So this is kind of nice too. And it has a beautiful scent. It kind of reminds me of a combination of like cedar and citrus. So I actually prefer this a little bit to sage. Personally, I found sage is very effective, however, at clearing things. If you want to go the route of a resin, this is what frankincense looks like. It's kind of hard to see here, but they're like these little crystals. And you basically will put that on also charcoal and allow it to heat up. So you've got a lot of choices when it comes to what you want to do for smudging. But sage is the one that came through for me today. I just wanted to kind of show you that there's a lot of different things. There's like dozens. So you choose what's best for you, what's most available, maybe what's most environmentally friendly. Incense, of course, can also be used, but white sage is quite beautiful, and it does have a nice clean scent. And this is what it looks like when it's kind of all bound up. And let's get into the next piece here. Just wanted to kind of bring that up. All right, so like I said, make a decision and a declaration to begin with a clean slate. Don't focus on the past anymore or an old block. So the declaration piece is really important. One of the things that I actually wrote at the very end here, but I want to bring up now because it makes sense, is this idea, and you would put, instead of you are, put I am. So you would say, I am worthy and ready. I believe in myself. So kind of change that to I. I'm just speaking for you, so you know it's not about me. So your mantra would be, I am worthy, I am ready to receive abundance and love in the highest forms. I believe in myself, and I believe that this will work. That belief, that declaration, that kind of opening up will allow for energy to start to come into your life, for abundance to start to flow to you, okay? But you have to decide and you have to believe. A lot of times when I do a reading for somebody, and if I'm trying to see what their block is, if I get judgment or justice in reverse, it's disbelief or lack of trust or resistance to the flow of change that's coming through. So what you want to do is really believe. Until you believe, it's going to be harder, if not sometimes outright impossible, for something to happen because you're pushing it back. You're thinking it probably won't happen. It shouldn't happen. I don't know if I deserve this. So I want you to shift that around and say, I'm ready. I'm worthy. Let's do this. Okay. White sage, which is commonly used in smudging, is also a major pollinator favorite. Again, for the bees, they love that. So the act of letting go, it reminds us, like, this thing that we use to banish things is actually very attracting because it's pushing away things and it's creating space. Letting go is part of the act of, or the law of detachment. When you're no longer fixated or attached to a particular point in time or to a particular outcome, you start to open up an abundance of opportunities in front of you. And it seems contradictory, but it makes sense. Think of if you go on a first date with somebody and before you've even left the building, you get 15 texts and 2 voicemails. It would be like, okay, that's intense. I don't know if I'm ready for that. They obviously are ready for a relationship, but this is too much. Or, you know, again, if that's a pretty good example, but it's kind of like if you push too much on anything. The other thing you could think about is a plant. Certain types of plants need a little bit of space. I like, you know, orchids. I also like cacti, and cacti in particular, they need the kind that I grow. Actually, you can actually mist them a little bit, but they don't need to be watered every day. I can mist them and then I maybe water them thoroughly once a week. If I watered them every single day, the roots would rot and the plant would die. If I didn't water them enough, the plant would also kind of die. So there's that right amount of caring enough, but not caring too much that is important to manifestation. Say, I'm here for this, I'm ready for this, but I got a lot of other things going on and I want it, but I don't desperately need it. And that's going to help you with manifestation. It also just helps in relationships too. It gives people a chance to breathe and show up. And again, that example, I'm sure we've all experienced that somehow, just having too much at once. Another example of this can also be your boss or your mom or dad. And if they're trying to make sure that you did something and they check in with you 15 times as well, sort of like, is it done yet? How far are you? Did you understand that? Are you sure you're going to do it? Do I need to check on you later? Did you set your alarm? It's like, oh my goodness, stop. So with manifestation, we need to do the same thing. We don't want to be a hovercraft kind of looking over something. So you trust that it's there and you're ready. Like, today's the day. I feel like I'm starting to feel some connection to that. Let's just let that go. So envision, do the work, trust, and release, or a combination of these whenever they kind of come through here. But the envisioning piece is key, and that is believing, setting the goal, fixating on that, and then releasing it, knowing that, all right, I really want that, but it might actually show up a little bit differently, and I'm okay with that too. And then also kind of even in your head saying, if this doesn't happen, I'm sure something else equal or better will happen. That's a great way to manifest. That's a great way to make sure that you're not blocked. So always assume that maybe I'll be surprised by something sooner, better, or beyond my wildest expectations in a positive way. All right. So this is a good time to start building, manifesting, and growing right now. Let's move on to the next piece here, which was boundaries. The boundaries piece came through in a metaphor in my dreams as a neighbor that wasn't so easy to get along with. And it was things going from like the property line to maybe like construction, particularly like if there's water or if you're like putting in a pool or if you're building in the sort of air, because there are things known as like land rights and air rights. So sometimes when you go up a few stories, if you block a view or something like that, it can be an issue. So one of the most specific pieces of information I have is for anybody that's constructing, buying or constructing, you're going to have to take a look at boundaries. These boundaries can be physical, but they can also be energetic, just someone trying to exert control and cause difficulty. But if you are building or constructing or adjusting anything in your sort of like land, make sure that you've gotten the proper, not just land rights, but maybe there's also some approvals from the utility companies and things like that. Clearances are going to be important for you. You might also find yourself inadvertently stepping on someone's toes. And this can happen just by saying something, by doing something too quickly. So you want to do your best to de-escalate it and let them know that it was not intentional. Also understanding that everyone has a different comfort zone and even comfort, I would say, with how quickly change happens. So communicating in advance of a change is important. This can be if you're a parent, you have children, and you know there's a move coming across country or something like that, or you're going to be traveling. Get them ready for the change before it happens. Normalize it. Make sure that it's not something when you basically say, we don't have a choice, we're moving, it's happening now, pack up. Same thing would happen for a company where there's a merger happening and titles are going to change or things like that. Having some heads up to that, letting them know that you may not know everything, but you'll let them know when you do. All of that's important. So communicating ambiguity, communicating potential of change, all of that is going to be super important to just being happy and to avoiding some of these disagreements that we talked about. So there you go. So that was basically the first piece here. And let me see if there's anything else. No, I think those are the main things with that. The next thing, which was kind of interesting, sort of attached to this, was I was really focusing on a pool of water or a pool. It looked like it was an in-ground pool. it kept rising, which didn't make a lot of sense to me. And then I saw like these currents of energy in it. So this could be more of a metaphor of pent up energy or emotion. So a lot of times that pool can just be what you're holding within you. And what I saw was rising and sort of like turbulent water within it. So I was kind of there with you, and I was trying to swim with you, and it felt impossible. I couldn't go against the current. If you've ever been in a sort of really turbulent part of the ocean, you'll know that this is true too. The undercurrent could pull you in a certain direction. Going against it is very hard. Trying to swim against the current takes all your energy. So if we look at this as maybe not your energy, but let's say there's someone around you. They are very emotional. They are very tied to something. There's a lot going on. There's this sort of chaotic force about them. What you might be tasked with this month is finding a way to rein it in or just move around it, because sometimes these emotions are just going to prove too challenging for you to navigate. If there's a group consensus, sort of like everyone in the family or office or friend group thinks one way, and you're the sole person that's kind of saying, are you sure about this? It may not be the right time to turn the tide. You want to pick your time and moment wisely here. Patience is going to pay off. And if it gets too overwhelming, you need to kind of extricate and pull yourself out of this. So for many of you, I think that there's this decision right now where there's a lot of energy, a lot of emotion, and you have to think, is this like Five of Swords? Is this worth it? Or am I just going to be spinning my wheels? It's interesting that there's the two fives could kind of work together here, the Five of Wands and the Five of Swords. Five of Wands can just be working and working and working, but not seeing any result. And the Five of Swords is indicating why that's happening. And that's because somebody doesn't want to give a little bit. Negotiation is a dance. Each partner needs to take a turn at leading, at following, at considering things. If you have two people leading or two people waiting for something to happen, two people following, nothing's going to happen. So you're going to have to navigate when to lead, when to follow, when to go out and be a solo sort of act here. And that's what you can decide right now, is how effective can I negotiate, and how effective is this negotiation, and is it worth my time and energy? Okay. So one of the things that is really coming through strong in the month of November for you, and for whatever's left of this month, October, when you're watching, is seeing these limits, understanding your big vision, which is like, hey, I know I want to do this, this, and this. How much of my time and energy are these things sort of taking away from that big picture that you're having? And the sage came through to help you clear these blocks. So sometimes we get mired down or weighed down in these other things which aren't important. You want to make sure that you're not doing that. All right, some things that you can do to help with this process of kind of getting clear and getting past possibly a person that's creating a block in your life is to simplify and to trust your intuition. One of the key ways that you can tap into your intuition is to surrender a bit and trust, once you've set the connection, that it's going to be okay. So when you are starting to try to figure something out, close your eyes, take a deep breath, ask for protection. You can say a prayer or a mantra if you want to. Once you've cleared and connected to the source, just trust what your feeling is and then go with that. If you think and think and think and overthink, you're going to basically release that intuitive kernel that could have helped you out. So simplify things and don't make things overcomplicated. Don't overthink. The simplification will also be in how much time and energy you're putting into your daily tasks. If you're trying to pitch an idea or say something to someone, saying less is going to be important, especially if it's constructive criticism. So find a way to just get to the point and use that as your compass, okay? You need to have organization. Take some time to clear your mind, to clear your space, and to clear your schedule. Then map out what's next, create a plan. One of my new sort of things that I'm having you vote on the weekend was like the map maker. I think this is pretty much what you want to envision yourself doing, is like cartography, making sure that you're making a map, outlining things. It may not be the most fun, but it definitely helps you kind of like accomplish your goals. There's a reason that I show up an hour and a half early or 2 hours and get all of these cards written by hand. It's not because it's fun. It's because it helps me clarify my visions. It helps me communicate in a way that's effective. And I know exactly how many cards equal exactly how many minutes. So it helps me time my messaging as well. So get organized. It will help you out. If there's anything that doesn't feel right, redirect. You have a finite amount of time and energy in each given day. So find some things where you're not achieving a block, because blocks are often the universe nudging you towards something else. It can be a test of desire, will, and just sort of like how much you want something. But it can also be, if you're consistently blocked, let's say 10, 20, 30 times, at that point, it's sort of like, this is not the right path. There has to be something that's more effective that can get me to the same end. So don't kind of be stubborn and just keep pushing at a brick wall. So look up, see if you can scale it, look to the right, see if there's a way to get beneath it. There's another way, all right? Remember that you're a channel and you can always reconnect to source. The block is usually here or here, but it's not in your energetic self. There's an emotional block or sometimes a cognitive block, because you're thinking, how do I do this? Why is this happening? So in this moment, say, I am ready, worthy, and connected as well to source, and you'll start to see some movement happening. Okay, so let's summarize and then we'll get into the main portion of the reading. With Sage, it's a chance for you to clear, to clarify, also to release, and the act of detaching is going to be the ultimate attractive force in your life right now. Envision, do the work, release, and trust. Boundaries are the next big thing that I talked about. I really want you to focus on setting boundaries, saying no, and then also remembering that if you're trying to negotiate something, it's a dance. You can't win everything. The other person can't win everything all the time. Sometimes you luck out, but there's usually a little bit of concession, a little bit of give and take. So dance that dance, and eventually you're going to be able to achieve what you're looking for. And then simplification, organization, and redirection will help you reconnect to source. Okay, so I'm going to stack up all of these cards. If you missed any message, don't worry. All of this will be available on replay. And later this afternoon, I'll be summarizing yesterday's collective and then today's reading and putting all of these messages on the community tab here on YouTube, also on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and my website. So I'll have a busy afternoon. I usually like to do a couple at once. So I'll put the links up here in just a moment so you can follow me. So let me just grab this right now and I'll make sure that you have a way to get in touch. So here you go. So if you would like to check out my social media or anything else, there's a link. I'm going to pin it. And also just quickly put up my user handles so you know them. So my user handle on social media is my name. If you are not sure of the spelling or not sure if it's me, go to my website and you'll be able to do that. You can also click on the About tab here on YouTube, and all of those are linked. Beware of anybody that pretends to be me and tries to message you. Just to put it out there, I don't message people or use comments to solicit business. We work here in real time together. So anybody else is basically just trying to take advantage of you. So don't do that. So anyway, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. I actually have a verified mark on Facebook. The same thing is true on YouTube. I'm trying to get it on Instagram. On Twitter, it's Ashbaugh. Again, all these links on my website. And now let's get into the main part of the reading here. We're going to focus now on the Celtic Cross and see what's coming through. Again, this will be for the next 6 to 8 weeks. You can use this for your sun, rising, and moon signs. You can also look at Venus or any other aspect of your chart that you happen to know. And with that being said, let me just check my sound levels here and we're going to get started here. All right. Okay, let me focus now. Welcome, everyone. I hope you're doing well. How are you feeling today? Hopefully you can feel a little bit of a release. Again, we're out of retrograde. Still may be some shadows, some scrapes, just like I had that we have to get through, but it'll be all right. All right, Scorpio, let's see what's going on here. Okay, let's take a look at everything that came through for you and see what the opportunities are. All right, we'll begin with your catalyst card, which gives you an opportunity to embrace the opportunities in this month and make the most out of it and avoid anything that could potentially pull you into a tailspin or anything like that. So we have wait for important information. The oracle is part of this manifestation message that I was bringing forth earlier, which was to envision, trust, and await a synchronicity to kind of come through, a sign or a signal. The other thing here, if we just look at it on the sort of face level, and I read this as the high priestess, which is what an oracle is, this is tuning in and trusting, like I said. So sometimes we know better. We know better, but we do it anyways. So she's coming through this month to say, you know what you need to do, trust, and this time actually just allow for that to be your guidance. You don't have to question it. You know what you need to do. You know what you don't need to do. And that's that. So simplification, trusting, and tuning in. Waiting for important information. There's a patience piece here that for some of you could be challenging. Some of us don't like to wait. It's sort of like, why can't this happen now? Why do I have to wait? Because the universe is aligning a sort of like cosmic opening for you, cosmic timing. And if we sometimes rush that cosmic timing, it ends up just like this. You can create a cut. You can create something where it's like not worth it. Slowing down is better. Slowing down and paying attention is better. All right. At the center here, we have the Hierophant in reverse. So many of you could have some challenges with authority. You could also feel a little challenged in trying to organize and get everything laid out. We have the Ancestor basically here as well, because that's what this card is called. So this can be an elder in your family, an aunt, an uncle, a grandparent, your own parent, and they're just coming through and having a hard time seeing it from maybe a modern perspective or from an open mind. And so your challenge is not to let the sort of ancestral energy creep in and somehow take you off of your own path. We also see this person kind of beating a drum here. So this is someone that just wants you to kind of keep the beat and keep the pace with what they expect. So as an independent thinking person, you have the right and the free will to go down any path that you want, sing any song that you want, drum any beat that you want. So what I'm seeing here is nonconformity being a big part of what your opportunity is between the end of October and throughout November. So are you okay with the fact that you may not be everybody's favorite as you're making these changes? A lot of times people need to see how it all pans out. They don't have the imagination or the vision that you do. But once it all materializes, you'll start to see people saying, oh yeah, I knew you could do it. Yeah, I never doubted you. Meanwhile, you think, I know, I remember that you had a hard time with that. So just trust that eventually people are going to find their way to seeing and applauding your vision and your view. We have the King of Cups here right at the center, which nicely pairs with what I was talking about with that big sort of pool of water, which could have easily been like an ace in tarot. So an ace, or in this case, maybe a king card here. So are you in control of your emotions? Are you in control of others? You know, you can't really control other people's. That's the sort of like a rhetorical question there. But I would say understanding when and where to push is going to be key. The King of Cups knows himself, knows other people, knows exactly when and where it's going to be effective to lead, to try to interject. And so I think for you, understanding your power and where to yield it is going to, or wield it rather, is going to be really, wield and yield it actually, is going to be important, okay? So where to step forward, when to step back, that dance that we were talking about. When I was reading for the collective, I know that I got the King of Cups, I believe. I'm not sure which signs it was in. You should check it out. I did the reading yesterday, but this energy is flowing over from yesterday. I think I got it in, might have been for those of you that might have fire placements. But at any rate, what I'll say with this is a really good time for you to connect to your creative side, your intuitive side. And if you're effective with this, you can also channel this into your communication, and that passion is going to be effective at negotiation and important to attracting the right kind of opportunities to you. So know yourself, share that passion, and trust in it. Okay. We have the Knight of Pentacles in reverse, and it's really cool when I like this deck because it uses animal totems, and I love nature totems. So this is Wildwood Tarot, really great deck. what we're seeing here, things may be going not as planned. So the horse is not going in the right direction. So for some of you, this can almost be, if we look at this symbol and we think of the chariot, there could have been a team member or a partner or even someone that you're in love with that has gone their separate ways, and that leaves you leading the charge alone. The message that I have for you is that you can do this. It just might take a little bit of time to figure out how to get the reins here. Also, how to find direction. So when I see the Knight of Pentacles in reverse, it's saying, it's almost like you have to pick everything up. That's what my guides are showing me. There's a little bit of a scattering of things, maybe even a little bit of a mess left behind. And so right now you're going to take some time, and the organization and the cleaning energy that I got makes a lot of sense here. Take a look at your resources. You may be surprised at what you have. So things may not happen as fast as you want, but you have more than enough to make them happen. So look around, be a little bit inventive or think out of the box. I think that you have more that you can access and tap into than you might realize. Some of you also might be slowing down purposefully so that you can focus on health, go back to school, be a stay-at-home dad or mom. Maybe just take a break because you've been working constantly from job to job, or you've been going from relationship to relationship and you just need a little break. So this can just be deciding to put on that parking brake and actually brake as well and say, in this moment here, I need to just figure out where I'm at, how I got here, and where I want to go next. I use the old analogy of, like, before we had our GPS on phones and other mobile devices, we had to use maps. And we had to ask for directions if we didn't have a map. You wouldn't just keep traveling down a path that wasn't providing some sense of validation on what you're doing, some sort of productivity. You weren't seeing productivity. Or if you just knew you were going in the wrong direction, you wouldn't keep going because you just get further and further lost. So pull aside, get your GPS in order, and then redirect. Pick a place. So that planning, that picking up, that cleaning up is going to be really important if you haven't already done it. As we look at your recent past here, we see the 8 of arrows, and arrows are swords in this particular deck, bows or wands. So the arrows here, we see someone finding their way through a tricky situation and understanding that they weren't really trapped. Normally the 8 of swords would show someone that's blindfolded or penned in by all of the swords around them. And this particular 8 of swords is saying, you know what, I can get through this. And we even have a little bit of the hermit energy saying, if I just look within, I know that I have the answer. So trust, instinct, and also knowledge. Knowledge is just as important as instinct. So releasing the feeling of being lost, and maybe for some of you, a reveal or this sort of like epiphany that happens where the answer comes to you. When it happens, trust that. You've been waiting to trust yourself, basically, with that card, okay? So the most important card we have here in the crowning position is Devil Reversed. In this particular deck, it's illustrated as the Guardian. And the interesting thing with the Guardian is, I think for some of us, it's the universe. It can be a protecting force. It can also be a limiting force. So the protection would be when we know we shouldn't do something, but we don't listen to that and we do it anyway. So for those of you that know better, this card is basically saying, then do better. So if you know you shouldn't do X, Y, or Z, then don't do that. There could also be an offer or opportunity presented to you, and you just know on some levels that there's got to be a little bit more to it. I want you to do your research this month, and you should always do that, but especially right now, and decide, all right, I'm not going to sign up for all of this until I understand every piece of the fine print, or until I do a little red line and add something in that protects me on some way, shape, or form. Don't overpromise. And it's better to underpromise and overdeliver than to overpromise and underdeliver. You want to make sure that you are setting a realistic expectation for yourself. A lot of times overachievers can get caught into this sort of devil card, which is, sure, I'll figure it out. And you know in your head that you've got 2 other things, 2 other deadlines. You've got some social thing that you've got to do. There's all these things that are piling up. So this is saying, no, I need some help with this, or pushing back and saying that's unrealistic. So you know it on some level. That's why this Guardian is there, and you're going to be okay. The other thing in this particular card as it flies through the air is that whether you have the devil in the background or this sort of very Halloween-like, skeleton here, a lot of the times we're afraid of something, but once we deal with the fear, it dissipates. And this is just a bunch of bones. It's not going to do anything here. Final thing, and it always comes through when I read with this card, is what's the skeleton in your closet? Everybody has one. Don't type it out. Just, what it is. It could be something that you're afraid that if you talk about it or deal with it, that people will judge you. This month in particular, we have to look at that skeleton and deal with it, because it's going to give you the skeleton key, which will unlock everything for you. So once you deal with what you're afraid of, the devil energy has no power. The devil, figuratively and literally, works on fear, ignorance, and then all the lower frequency energies too, but particularly fear and ignorance. So when we're unafraid and when we're informed, we see through the mirage, and then we can go through the door. There's a portal there behind this particular energy. So you have to kind of go into what makes you afraid, clear it, and then it's going to be an easy sailing after that. If you meet anyone this month, new love, we'll look at relationships in a second. I really want you to get to know new people before you connect with them on a dating sphere, on a contract level at work, even on a friendship level. Someone might be unavailable or not able to come through the way that you expect them as well. So take your time and really get to know new people in your life. All right. Big changes on the horizon for you when we look at the near future here. We actually have the world, which is auspicious. It's good. You see the 4 seasons represented in this tree, sort of like spring, summer, fall, and winter. And this card often does indicate that next year ahead, this new journey. And we also have this sort of, some of you might have felt like you're going through some sort of a maze or going through some sort of, some blocks. But what you would see if you could look at this from a bird's eye view is the exact way to get out of that, right? So remember that you've got to take some time to sort of understand what it is that you want to do, because manifestation is very much coming through for you. The World card, let's talk about some of the auspicious meanings of it. If you're a writer, or if you're an artist, or if you're in broadcast news or anything like that, this is distribution. In internet terms, this would be going viral for the right reasons. It's something really catching on. So you have this ability right now to kind of go from small to really, really big. And the other thing that this can indicate is a move, a fresh start, a new beginning, and also this chance to really bring through all of the lessons and shine. It has everything. The world has all of the previous major arcana cards in it, including the one that it just came through, which is important, which is judgment. So trusting, believing, and being able to rise up to the next challenge is going to be key. So you have a really great month ahead. This is what it's all about. This is a fear of, can I do it? Am I good enough for this? You are. It's reversed. So you have to get past the fear, and whatever it is that you might be trying to hide or push under the rug, it's going to come up. So deal with that first, and then step into the opportunity. It looks good. But moving might be on the horizon for some of you. You could also have a chance to step up in a career, or you might have a chance to disseminate, publish, or distribute something. So your name is getting out there some way, shape, or form. So it's good. This is a good time for you. And this is hitting kind of squarely in the middle of the month as well. All right, let's take a look at you and what's going on with you. So I like that we have the King of Pentacles. It's very interesting that in this deck, he's a lone wolf, or she's a lone wolf, because I don't really read gender so much into the cards. So with this, I would say some of you have decided to go solo. Maybe you've spent a long time supporting other people, a long time connecting with groups, and you've gained enough skills that you think, I either want to do it on my own or I want to lead others. This is stepping up in that way. You might also decide to, this can be a very paternal card. So whenever I see Queen or King of Pentacles, they're like mom and dad. And so some of you might be deciding to take some of that and do something with it for good too. It could be philanthropic. But there's a little bit of you stepping into uncharted territory with this, but the wolf can handle that path alone. So I really do feel like you're set up for success. You might feel alone at times, but you're going to find a new pack. You're going to attract a new tribe of energy around you. So trust in that. this is a very auspicious card to be following the world. So we saw that things initially in the past were kind of going in the opposite direction or slowing down. What I see here is some speeding up, but during that period, possibly feeling like, wow, I'm actually in the lead of the pack here. I'm on my own. So that could, almost like the star energy, sometimes that can be a little bit off-putting or scary. But remember, all you've got to do is call, and that's what he's doing. He's howling, he's calling in friends, he's calling in resources, okay? So you've got to use your voice. Even though we're looking at pentacles, communication is key. Ask for more and you'll receive more. Connect with people, and they're gonna want to show up, all right? This is very much a leadership card. When I'm looking at the environment, that's what happened. We have the 10 of Pentacles. So this is stepping into friends, family, new opportunities, new job. If any of you are looking for a shift in finances, yes, we see some great movement here. This is the King of Pentacles, the King of Finance and Resources. 10 of Pentacles is other people, new contracts, new places to live, new places to work. Good things are coming, but you've got to step through that door. And guess what was blocking the door? Fear, the devil, uncertainty. This is one side of the portal. This is the other side of the portal. So don't be afraid of the positivity on the other side. You just have to get past the fear, or maybe some little things in the contract to make sure that it makes sense for you. Okay. The other thing that I'm seeing for you is maybe some of you are developing a sort of chosen family. So if you didn't get the support that you needed from your parents, from your siblings, from wherever you grew up, the chosen family is just as strong. It's soulmates. We have more than one, by the way. There's not just one soulmate. Soulmates in your life that you just really feel now at this point in time that you connect to. So you can have a best friend that feels just like a sister or a brother. You can have even someone that comes in with a maternal or paternal energy. So really looking good for you this month, I have to say. Great in business and great in development. And for some of you, this is a card of marriage because this indicates a joining of resources. So looks good to me. I like what I see so far. You just have to get the details right, and you have to get past the fear. All right, let's take a look now at hopes, fears, and opportunities. We have the 5 of arrows. One of my favorite illustrations for this, because we have, I think he's a little goat, but he's carefully traveling through all of those verbal spars, those arguments that can't be won, and saying, you're not going to get me this time. You can aim at me, but try to find an easier target. I'm not that target. So this is avoiding somebody who, or deciding to be strong in the presence of someone who's trying to push your buttons. And if somebody also is not letting you kind of get your point across, or just doesn't listen, it's like cotton in the ears, then you just say, let's talk another time. I can tell now is not the best time. And you redirect. 5 of Swords, conversation you can't win, a person that's too stubborn, something that's not worthy of your energy. This 5 of Swords showing that you're being able to navigate through this and not get stuck in that web or to become someone else's dinner. So sometimes people do feed off of the energy. I was talking about that in yesterday's collective, and I saw a little bit of it here in the neighbor vibe. So this could be the person that works right next to you. It could be your next door neighbor. It could be your brother or sister, whoever's right in your energy. They seem to be agitated. We're not going to shake the hornet's nest here. Let that person be. Give them space if they need it. This isn't the time to kind of deal with that. All right, your final card is the mirror, which looks a lot like the moon. But in this particular deck, the mirror is actually the Hanged Man. The Hanged Man in this case would be reversed. Let's talk about why I think they chose the mirror on this. Because when we're looking up at the moon teaches us things that we don't necessarily want to know or want to know, but we need to know. And we need to see it too. So it's a reflective sort of energy. The inner reflection this month is going to be really, really important. Understanding what makes you tick, what makes other people tick, and also why you might feel a sense of being triggered about certain things. That's going to help you find your power. That's going to be really, really important here. The other thing here, we see like is it a funeral pyre or something here? But basically, to me, there's a little representation of 6 of Swords, release. And so for some of you, letting go, that I talked about that at the very beginning, we're all right on the heels of retrograde, but sometimes we're still holding on to one thing. The good news is if you watch this, like in the next 7 days here, before the end of October, you still have a chance to release that and take advantage of some of the positive aspects of retrograde, which is resetting, breaking old cycles and setting into motion new things, new productive cycles that bring about abundance. Be patient. We see things starting to move in the right direction, but if you rush them, or if you rush towards something where it's incomplete or not ready, the Hanged Man is saying you didn't learn what you were supposed to learn. Going into the mythology of the Hanged Man, Odin hung upside down from the tree of life, Yggdrasil, to learn the secrets of the runes. And the runes were these sacred, almost like letters, but they contained energy, and they were alchemic, and it was sort of like very magical. He had to wait there a certain amount of time, and he sacrificed some blood and time and energy in order to get that. So blood, sweat, and tears. Sometimes we have to kind of work through something and trust and wait. It was right at the end when the vision and the sort of keys to, that sacred knowledge came through. So you're fine. Don't rush through this final step, this final phase. There's something to be gleaned, something to be learned from going through the experience. Sometimes we just want to get out of something, but if you finish it perfectly, you won't have to repeat. It's kind of like school. If you get all the lessons, you don't have to go back and repeat the grade. So we don't want to go back and repeat this particular lesson, particularly because we had the devil card here, which was about limitations. One last thing that I kind of touched upon this, but it's limitations in your heart and your mind that could be holding you back. The devil can stem from within, that sort of anchoring energy, okay? Let's move along to the next portion. We're going to look at health, wealth, love, and destiny. Let me just take a quick drink before we do that. All right. We'll begin with the health card here. And it says, build in breaks and saunter slowly. Some cool choice of words there. So this card was reversed. So many of you are very, very busy. You might also have a hard time making peace with the fact that rest is essential, play is essential to productivity. Because we were taught, not everybody, but a lot of kids were taught that you have to get back to work, go study. What we don't understand, and that playing or relaxing was a sign of laziness. In adulthood, we often underappreciate the importance of basically decompressing. So play is a chance for us to explore, to try on a new persona, to think, what if, ... and play around a little bit. The adult sort of sandbox can look very different. It could be a special sort of activity or project that just brings you joy. So maybe you like painting. Maybe you enjoy reading comic books. Maybe there's something that just doesn't make a lot of sense when you're going through it, but later you learn things from that. It's like, I have this thing that I do, and it's taught me the importance of patience. It's taught me the importance of doing the right thing. It's taught me this or that. You never know how your play or leisure activities can inform your day-to-day life. Plus, if you really want to grow your intuition, you have to create space for that. I work pretty hard, which is, if you've ever wondered why a lot of I focus on dreams, it's because my schedule's busy. If I actually had a little bit more time in my work week to just sit and meditate, I could get what I get in dreams in that time. But because I do 16 or 17 videos, because I see clients, because I have to do all the production, promotion, and all the other stuff, it comes in dreams. But I've actually gotten pretty good at dream interpretation, and I like receiving stuff in dreams. But that's a reason why if I had a little bit more rest, I could probably just sleep through the night and not have any dreams. But anyway, if you give yourself time, you're going to sleep better. You're going to be able to be more productive. I get my best ideas when I'm walking my dog, when I'm taking a shower, when I'm watching TV, or when I'm reading a book. All of a sudden, something will come to me and I think, oh, yeah, I should do that. Oh, that'll be a great topic. It's not when I'm sitting here and toiling and working so hard that my head hurts. It's when I have a chance to go out and be in the world. So create some space, all right? Build in breaks. If you're not, you are actually cheating yourself of productivity and happiness in this lifetime. So this card is kind of saying, hey, wake up, all right? So there you go. Let's take a look now at some other messages with respect to health. I think it's really important to understand limits and also understand temptations. The devil card here is saying, you know what to do and what not to do. Trust in that, do that, you'll be fine if you listen. For some of you with the Hanged Man, a couple of things that I would see with this. You could have some pain in one of your ankles. You could also be not moving enough. And this card is saying, remember to stretch and remember to start to move and do it slowly. The key to the Hanged Man is easy does it one step at a time and go a little slower. Mostly your cards are pretty good actually this month when I'm looking at health. I like what I see. The devil can also be like letting go of an addiction or an old habit in your life. But guess what? This time you do it. This time it's done. Whatever you don't want to do, trust in this. If you decide to stop it now, you succeed. Okay? And you have to feel it and believe it on all levels. I had a teacher once that, I was having some issues with just some bad luck with my car and stuff like that. She said, enough with this. Like, no one's going to hit you. You're not going to hit anyone. There's not going to be any car issues. It's done. You've solved that. That was just a sort of energetic pattern. And it finished after that. You can decide the same thing when it comes to if you've been getting a lot of colds, you're just going to decide, I'm going to take better care of myself. I'm stopping this pattern. It's not productive. It's holding me back. Okay. So it can be something environmental or it can be something that you're ingesting, but this time you break it. You break the cycle. All right. Let's focus on what's going on with work and money and career. So when we're looking at wealth here, we have focus and we have amethyst crystals. Normally I have an amethyst there. It's right now under one of my orchids in the background. But the amethyst crystal is so good. It says focus, really good for protection, really good for clarity. So if you have amethyst in your life anywhere, this is something that you can actually wear for protection. You could put it right here around the throat chakra so people see it when you're talking. You could wear it as a ring or as a bracelet. I actually have some bracelets that I'll wear sometimes. This is more of a grounding one, but you could put amethyst on in that sort of respect. I think I have some amethyst here in this particular necklace that I keep by me, but something like that. You can wear it on your person if you would like, or keep it nearby like I do. The main thing, if we take it out of the crystal, is to clarify and to focus. So you're lacking some focus right now on some aspect of purpose and career. The more you can focus on this, and this is nicely aligned with my channeled messages, the more you can focus on this, the quicker it will come through, and the more the universe trusts you to sort of be ready for this moment in time, okay? Let's take a look at some specific messages around money and resources. First of all, I see a lot around you. The 10 of Pentacles in your environment shows me that you're poised right now to tap into that network if you need to, all right? So if you're ready, all you have to do as we look at this King of Resource cards is to make the call. You have to speak and sort of like do your elevator pitch too. For some of you, you might have this really great concept. So maybe you're an engineer, maybe you're an inventor. You could get your patent and then you can pitch this idea to someone and then we see a nice return on that, okay? This could also be for those of you that are creatives. Maybe there's an idea for writing something, curriculum, selling something. Maybe there's a movie script idea or whatever, and this is the pitch, but you have to really believe in that, and that's going to help you. So do the hard work, get it really to the proper form, and then convey that. Ask for what you want, and then I see that return coming. It looks pretty good overall. It looks like some of you may be licking some wounds from the past year with the Knight of Pentacles in reverse, where things didn't happen quickly enough. Maybe you made some mistakes with money or finances, or some jobs just said no to you. But what we see right now is that that's coming to a close. You have a big breakout period coming in, and I feel like that's what you want to focus on. Try not to say something that ends up coming back to haunt you or whatever, because we have that 5 of arrows here, the 5 of swords. You want to avoid getting caught in a trap or in someone else's crosshairs. So there's some fights that are not worth fighting, and that's what that's saying there. Especially if you're in a work environment where they're just not supporting you the way you should be. At this particular point in time, you could just decide, you know what, I'm going to move on because we have that world card. There's something better. All right. I see good movement and good shifting. I also see a period of growth followed by a plateau. This is that big moment of growth. Then we see a little bit of a plateau that you want to push through, but take the time in that plateau to just sort of catch your breath. All right. Overall, I like what I see. Parents may not understand. Your boss may not understand. Teachers may not understand exactly what you're doing. But I'm sure that if there was someone in your life that if you think about a moment where, you know, they were trying to do something unusual, if we think of an inventor, for instance, that tried to pitch an idea, like, you know, if you have an Apple Watch, it's very much like Dick Tracy back in the day where he could talk into the watch. iPads and iPhones are like Star Trek, right? The tricorders. There's all these things that start as fantasy or a crazy idea, and now we're actually using them in everyday life. So don't disbelieve yourself just because someone else doesn't have your imagination, especially if you're an engineer. That's what you do. You think of new ways to make life better. So think of that for yourself. Just engineer something better for your life right now. And if someone else can't see it, that doesn't mean it can't happen. All right. Okay, let's focus now on relationships. This card is reversed. It's about activation. It says Spirit Guardian of Spring. So for many of you, this is showing new growth, but the growth is being stunted a little bit. So this is a relationship where maybe there was a lot at first, but now it's kind of like, where's this going? So what you want to focus on is the reactivation, finding a way to get back into feeling that connection. And the activation begins within. We can't depend or lean upon someone else solely as our battery, as our source for inspiration. It has to be in here and in here. And we can spark that in someone else, but we can't depend solely on that. So taking time to take care of yourself is going to be important. Let's look at the 3 levels that I normally like to. Basically, for those of you in a relationship, for those of you that are looking for love, and those of you that are already maybe not in a relationship, I would say you're single and happy, or you're not focused on it, but just we'll look at how it might still factor in. Those of you in relationships, there are things you need to talk about. We can't not look at the Devil card here. So the Devil card in reverse is saying, there's something that you might have already agreed to, you might have worked through. It feels like it's known and it's probably been discussed, but it's coming up again. So there's something that needs to be addressed. This could be a fear and anxiety or limitation. This could also be something that's going on that just doesn't please you. So getting that out in the open is going to be important. So transparent, honest conversations about the things that matter, especially the things that are making you feel angry, afraid, whatever. All of those energies, you should be able to be. If you can't talk to that with, can't talk about that with your partner, then who exactly can you talk about it with? So just basically being as honest as possible. If there's been some sort of a reveal, maybe you learned something about your partner that they were hiding, it feels like this can either completely bring you closer or it's going to be the end of the relationship. So what you want to do is, not in a bad way, but it's sort of like, I can't deal with that anymore because that was such a big thing. This is why you want to share things with the other person. Be the agent of change. Don't wait for the change to happen to you. So I feel like it's make it or break it. If there's something you need to talk about with your partner, talk about it and things get better. If you wait, it probably won't get better and it probably will end up getting bigger than you wanted it to get. So this is basically diffusing and dispelling fear through communication and honest conversation. And hopefully you can bring it to a stronger level. It's a fresh start. It's deciding to kind of like push it into a better place. The other thing, if let's say everything's good, one of the things that could be causing fear or anxiety right now is maybe you actually came into some money or you have some big decisions about money. This could be a decision to sell the house because we got the World card and right next to it is the house. So if you have joint assets and property, you're going to have to decide what to do with it. I definitely saw a lot about division of assets. If you're divorcing, division of assets are going to be an important thing as well. So property really is what I'm looking at. Property and bank accounts seem to be playing a really big role in relationships. If you're going to get married this month, because the 10 of Pentacles can be that, make sure that you have prenuptial, make sure that you have sort of sorted out what's what and who owns what and how all of that works. It's just a good thing to do as you're entering into a contract. You want to make sure you're taking care of yourself. So it's money and it's honesty that are going to be important, and maybe the two tie together for many of you in relationships, okay? Don't argue. And you may not want to see what you're seeing, but seeing it is going to help bring it to the next level, okay? Nothing to really be afraid of. I think honestly for some of you, this could just be, you've got some big news. Like this could be a work transfer or a need to sort of move or sell the house, but you have to talk to the person about this sooner than later. I even saw that in the channel messages. So there's something big, some big news. The sooner you say it, the better, all right? The other thing here is there is a lot of passion. There could be this sort of desire to reconnect, and maybe some of you are just having a hard time rekindling that flame. All right, take time, make time for each other. Remember what we saw here, create some breaks, build in breaks in your life. If you're looking for love this month, there's a lot of personal healing that needs to go on first. And I honestly want you to look at if you're ready for it, because this card could indicate that you or the other partner isn't quite able to give what's expected during this period of time. I think there's a lot going on and you should let the dust settle first. But once that happens, we have a really strong energy coming through. Someone who tends to be a little bit more independent. And if I'm looking at the two partners, I like that we got two kings. I actually prefer because I don't read gender. I'm looking at level and energy. So here I'm seeing someone really sensitive, really creative, really expressive. Here I'm seeing someone really down to earth, someone who tends to be a little bit more on their own. Together, there's an interesting mix here because this person likes to be more social. This one likes to pull back. This one likes to kind of go with the flow, and this one wants to know everything. So you're going to have a little bit of, different ways of thinking. So you want to blend this. I wish the wolf could be looking at the bird, but they're kind of looking in different directions. So I think the important thing is to try to find areas of commonality and to give that person a chance to do what they do and eventually meet in the middle. Again, that dance of negotiation is going to play a really important role for dating this month and making time for that. Try not to get into some sort of a heated discussion, especially if you're starting a brand new kind of courtship. There could be a hot topic and you're going to decide, is this worth it? Or should I kind of step away from that? Availability is the number one concern that I have for those of you in looking for new relationships, because the devil card can show someone that hasn't yet completely severed the ties between an ex-partner. Maybe there's finalization of divorce papers. Maybe the other partner doesn't want to let go. The devil was reversed, so it seems like it's diminishing, but there's a third party. The third party could be work too. Like they're just married to their work. There's something that's kind of in between the two of you that you need to sort out sooner than later. If you're single and happy, I actually feel like this is by the way, there could also be like a Scorpio coming in too. You have a couple of choices. So if you don't connect with one, be discerning. That would be my last piece. Really be discerning. Now, for those of you that are single and happy, good for you. There's so much movement going on right now. That's what you want to focus on, is expansion. And there's so much coming through with finances as well. We've got these two trees here. So I see a lot of positivity for you, particularly financial. And for some of you, gaining this independence, you like it. There's nothing wrong with this. I talked about this in my Sunday collective for the week ahead, that basically being alone doesn't mean that anything's wrong. We have this weird sort of thing that we've built up in society where that if you're not coupled, something's wrong. Not really. What it basically is showing that you're working on yourself, that you're completely self-reliant. And some people want relationships, some people don't. So if you're single and happy, or if you're divorced, or if you're in a point in your life, maybe you're widowed, you're just thinking, I'm good. You're good. You're great actually right now. And I'm seeing a lot of abundance and a lot of people that want to spend some time with you too. So you could give back in volunteer work. You could give back in philanthropy. Like I said before, there are people that are willing to take classes or to listen to what you have to say. So again, I see this great mentor-mentee energy that's coming in for you as well. So great time. And you still have a lot of people around you, but it looks more commerce or kind of like cooperative type energy instead. So I like what I see quite a bit. When it comes to all of that though, any deals or any agreements this month, I have to keep underlining this. You have to make sure that you understand the contract. Don't overpromise. Don't give away intellectual property rights. And if someone says that they have your back, or that they're going to kind of like take care of you, make sure it's in writing too, because this could also just be someone falling short of their promise. Okay. Relationships are a little tricky this month, but you'll be able to navigate it. Really, it's about the internal activation, which is what we saw here. All right. Finally, the Destiny card, where this is all leading you, is a good card. We have the Mystic Healer. Healing energy flows through you. This is the Magician. The Magician is a healer. So being able to pull cosmic energy and ground it as above, so below, you being that sort of mortal channel between the two energy forces, you decide what you want to do with it. Some of you are being called to take care of your body, your mind a little bit, heal yourself. Some of you may actually decide to do something with Reiki or a different healing art. And some of you might just feel this. I'm also getting like almost like an Athena energy. This is inner knowledge. So you might be channeling something that you can do something positive within your life. So again, trusting that intuitive flow. I said you were a channel, so we got a channeling card. It makes a lot of sense. Looking at the big idea for this month, do not limit yourself. That's literally in the headspace. Growth is essential. So as long as you allow for expansion to happen this month, you're on the right track. Anything that is holding you back from expansion, that is what you want to really make sure that you're not getting trapped in. You don't want to get caught in that cobweb. It's all about activation, and it's all about releasing all of those old things that were holding you down or holding you back. And it's okay to be the leader of the pack. It's okay to be on your own a little bit. It's okay to not be completely understood. You're onto something. People will eventually come in and understand what you're talking about. Okay, that's the big idea for this month. Let's move into blessings and blocks next. Blessings, of course, are things that are coming through in a very positive way to make your life better. There are things you can look forward to. We're going to take a look and see what the blessings are for you in the month ahead. All right, so let's see what's coming through for you. We have the Ace of Wands. I really love this. Spark of life is what this says, but I would also say it's a spark of intuition. We see this this bow and arrow almost being played like a violin or like a harp or something like this. So, and while you're doing this, we can see the fire sort of starting here as well. I love this. So if you have this spark of intuition, I want you to do something with it. Take it, and in this particular deck, it's like taking aim and firing. I had a really cool card that came through in the collective yesterday. I think this was particularly for your sign here. This is the Hunter card. And that's what he's doing, is taking aim, taking fire, and saying, let's do this. So you have an idea. What are you going to do with it? This is the thing. Like, we can all have epiphanies and, you know, this moment of clarity that comes through. My question to you is, all right, so what's the plan now? Do you trust it? Are you ready to act upon it? I think it's really important. Okay. So your blessing right now is brainstorming, ideation, and getting clarity. And all you have to decide to do is to kind of figure out how you're going to apply that. In a relationship, this is actually a great card. This can show that you have a way to connect with someone physically, and I would also say maybe getting on the same mental page too. So really just connecting on a deeper level. So taking time to get to know somebody. All right, let's move along to your potential blocks. So we have the idea, we have potential. You have to decide what to do with it. What's the block? All right, we have a lack of clarity here. We have the Seven of Cups. It's reversed. The Seven of Cups reversed is saying it's time to make your mind up. The Seven of Cups upright would be a chance to explore options, right? When it's reversed, it's saying, if we spend too much time with our head in the clouds, if we spend too much time questioning, we're not spending enough time actually doing. Limit how much you're putting your energy into. This is also about scattering thoughts too much. So one of your blocks could be obsessing over someone or something. So why haven't I heard back from someone about this? Is this going to happen? What if this happens? Thinking about worst case scenarios and allowing that to kind of like create dread in your life. So it's saying, let's release those thoughts like rain and let's focus on one or two things that we can really do. And really when you're looking at cups, you know, I would say if you're thinking of where it starts to get tricky, 1, 2, and 3 are good. So if you have 1, 2, or 3 things that you're kind of putting your energy into, that's great. But once you start to go past that, it gets a little tricky. So I would say really limit your focus and do better. Not, instead of doing more, do less, but do it better. It goes back into the work card, which literally was showing this sort of like crystallizing force, this clarifying force. So you have an idea, but you're distracted. You have an idea, but you might be worrying how it will be received. You have an idea, but you're so worried about what your friend, your ex, your mom, your dad, or what someone else is thinking that you don't do something with it. Don't overthink. Do. This is a card of demonstrating, acting on something, kind of getting it going, showing it. All right. So I like what I see there, but I think overall you don't want to overthink it. Let's go ahead and put some questions up here for you to vote on for some clarifications. We're going to do the viewer's choice, and you're going to have a chance to vote on something that can really help you. So let's go ahead now and do viewer's choice and see what's coming through here. So let's look at this, clearing your head, because we have that the Seven of Cups here. So how to clear my head, thoughts, mind. Okay. The next thing that I'd like to look at is focusing on the energy of the Devil card, which is what's the message about limitations? And you'll understand that that's the Devil card. And then the last thing that I'm looking at here, we have such good news here. Let's focus on the expansion. So what's the expansion opportunity? Right. So you can vote on this now. Let's see if I can just, oops, there we go. All right, so I'm asking the question right now. It'll be up in the upper right-hand corner. If you're looking at this on a computer, a mobile device, and that's about it right now. If you happen to be watching on replay, you'll just have to trust that people voted in the right direction. All right. While you're voting, I'm going to shuffle and do a wild card, which is just basically a chance for the universe to say something else that we need to see here. So what haven't we covered already that your sign needs to know about? We got two cards that kind of stuck together, so I'm going to read them both. So the first wild card was the Ace of Pentacles, and it was reversed. So some of you have received an opportunity, and there's just this question of, does it feel right to you? Is it overwhelming? Do you feel worthy of it? Because one of the things that we talked about in channeled messages was that feeling of being worthy and ready. If and when you kind of step into that worthiness and that readiness, then some cool stuff starts to happen. But some of you may be hesitating. The other thing with this is reinvesting. So some of you may be blessed with an abundance of opportunities or resources. So you get to decide what really feels best. So when I see you kind of holding that ace, it's sort of like you hold it to your heart and think, do I feel this? Am I ready for this? It is an okay time if you want to go back to school, take a break and just focus on something that makes you happy. This is time to put back within yourself, okay? And then we have the Magician, which totally connects to this healing card here that we got here as well. So the Magician comes through saying, if you believe it, if you put your mind into this, yes, we see progress. Yes, you can do that. But you do have to believe it. Magic works if you trust and if you believe. And in my book, I have a little line that I wrote, which is, magic is just a new truth waiting to be discovered. And I strongly believe that. Because I think that we call it magic when it's just something that we don't understand. So maybe one day, 5,000 years in the future, when we're hopefully out traveling space or something, we'll be able to look back and think, yeah, we are energetic beings. Yes, our soul lives on and on. Yes, this is not magic. This is actually just something that we're starting to understand the tip of the iceberg. So trust in yourself, focus on something, believe in it, see it through to completion. All right, let's take a look now at the expansion opportunity. I can see that's the clear winner by well over 60%, but I'll wait for the poll to come in. Yeah, 64% of you voted on what's the big expansion with the world card. So let's take a look. That's a great question. All right, thank you to the 92 people that voted on that. So for the world card, what's coming through that's going to allow expansion? Let's take a look. Okay, we have the Seven of Pentacles. So the interesting thing with the Seven of Pentacles is it is telling you in this moment in time, you need to focus on healing yourself. The Seven of Pentacles also offers us a bit of a lesson. Sometimes when this card comes through, especially on the heels of the Devil card, we are reminding ourselves that we've actually integrated the difficult lessons from the past and we're not going to repeat them again. But oftentimes a temptation comes through. It could be like an old boss calling you up and you don't want to work there. It could be an ex sending you a text and that that's bad news. It could be any number of things. A friend who you typically just end up regretting spending the night with because either they're exhausting or they get you into trouble or whatever. Whatever this temptation is, you're going to push back and say, nah, I've already learned that lesson. Thank you very much. I'm not going to repeat that grade. I'm going to move forward. And then we go quickly from the Seven of Pentacles to the Eight, which is you're starting to see abundance. You're starting to be able to produce more. Productivity comes in, etc. So you have this moment in time of letting go of a final lesson and then saying, yes, I choose health. I choose wealth. I choose to grow from this. Notice the person is relaxing a little bit. They're getting some healing. They're tuning in the way that I said all of us, myself included, needs to do. So take some time to relax, and you're going to get that moment of clarity, like, oh yes, this is what I can do to get to the next level. This is what I can do to expand. All right. So we see some financial and some physical healing going on. And from that, and it basically does say healing right there at the bottom. So from that healing, you're going to be able to inspire others. You're going to be able to do better. You're going to feel really good about what's coming through. So I really like what I see here. Let's just kind of do a mini review of these. Again, the blessing this month is this idea that comes forth. The block can be putting your energy into too many different areas so that you can't actually act upon it or overthinking it. The wild card this month is being discerning. It's saying, I really need to decide, how does this fit with me, etc. And then as we look at the last two cards here, we see, well, also part of that wild card was that you already have the power to make this happen. Your viewer's choice card is saying healing is necessary, but then from that, we see more money and more abundance and more productivity. So money is what I would say. Money, healing, and productivity is coming forth. You just have to decide that you're ready to receive that. Okay? And you should just feel a lot better by the end of this month, because healing is a part of the Seven of Pentacles. It takes time to integrate, but by the time we get into the holiday season, it feels like you're going to be in a really strong place, mind, body, and spirit. Okay? Let's move along into the final portion, which consists of two parts. I'm going to start off with a meditation, and then we're going to then go to a final card. Before we do the final card, take a moment right now and write me a question. Or if it's easy, just hold it in your mind and think about it for a little bit. And then once I come back from the meditation, I will answer that. A quick note, if you haven't already hit the thumbs up, consider doing that. Please subscribe as well if you've never done that either. All right, with that being said, let's move on to the meditation. And this will take about 2 minutes, and then we'll get into the final card. So just be patient and allow for the sound bath here that's going to follow in a second to kind of just give you this sense of ease and clear out any sort of cobwebs from Mercury retrograde. All right, so as I look at all of this, since you chose the energy of expansion, let's imagine that you are a new star being born. Close your eyes. See yourself at the center of this sort of star nebula in the sky where there's a lot of dust. And one part of this nebula, you see the dust starting to coalesce. And it's coming in tighter and tighter and tighter until right at the center, this is where you're at. This is where your energy of expansion is going to be. See yourself here amidst all of the sort of movement and chaos and opportunities. The dust around you represents things that can be, but you can't see just yet. So in your mind and in your heart, I want you to imagine what your new world will look like. And I want you in this very moment to say what it is and say, this is it. As it is spoken, so it will be. I believe that this is possible. I believe in myself. I'm ready to receive. When you say I'm ready and really believe that I'm ready, imagine that in that moment, from all the dust and all of the opportunities, we see a new star being born. It's you at the center of this. And because it's a meditation, we can speed up the development of your own sort of little universe here. Imagine that your solar system is going to be representing what you want to see in your life, the closest things. And it doesn't have to be planets. You're just going to create things in order around you. So imagine all of the orbits in your life. What's most important? Is it career? Is it family? Is it a child? Is it something else? Is it you improving yourself? See all the different orbits around you. Take time to set this into motion and say, I see this, I trust this, I believe this, I'm ready for this. And see the things starting to take shape in your own orbit. See your light and energy, whatever color or frequency you want it to be, reaching out and touching those objects and breathing them into existence and breathing them into life. And as I play the singing pyramid here, I just want you to trust that you can do this, that it's already happened. One of the first steps is simply believing. Stating and believing, and that's the main message here at this point. So let me play this for a moment. I just want you to watch the universe take shape and take form and enjoy and trust in the process. Take a deep breath. Take a look at what you are creating, what your vision looks like, what you're capable of bringing into your life. Take a snapshot of this and see it kind of burned into your third eye, into your heart. Carry that Polaroid image with you, knowing that because you saw it, because you believed it, because you're taking actions each and every day, this is possible. Closing the meditation with an understanding that you are ready, willing, deserving to receive all of that which you've dreamed of and meditated on. Gently open your eyes when you're ready. And let's take a look now at the final question that you might have for me. All right, so I just want you to focus on something. Maybe it's something that you want to bring into existence. Maybe it's a person in your life that you need clarity over. Maybe it's something else I haven't even covered. Whatever it is that you need a little bit of help on, think about it now. Ask the question, read the question, and I will do my best to interpret what you need to know. All right, so we have a great card here at the end. We have the Three of Wands in reverse. It shows me positive outcome. So there's many different ways you could ask the question. You could say, is something going to work out? This usually means it's going to work out better than you thought. Maybe not in the timing that you had hoped. Patience is key, but it will be better than you thought. As a yes or a no, it's a yes. However, one of the things that I'm looking at this Three of Wands, he's holding the bow and arrow again. We have the two wands here, and he's holding the third. So what I love about this one is it's saying the one thing that is necessary is for you to take action on something to make it happen. So the Two of Wands already exists, which was the envisioning, which is what we did before we meditated. The next phase for you is going to be follow through. And that's why he's holding that bow. We're missing the arrow right now. So there's a little bit of final work for you to do. We also see kind of like a momentary pause or a waiting or a welcoming of someone. So there may be a missing piece. There may be someone that's bringing in that final component, but it's a yes. Overall, it's definitely a yes. The Three of Wands in reverse is also kind of reminding you to continue. This is also like a recommendation as much as it is an answer, especially for those of you that might have just been sitting there thinking, I don't have a question. If you don't have a question, this is reminding you to always expect some positivity to come into your life. So when you start a new day and think it's going to be all right, or even if you have something like a flat tire or a cut on your lip, you're going to say, I'm going to make the best of it. This isn't going to stop me. This is just one thing. I still had to show up for you. You still have to get to work. You still have to do things. You're not going to let one thing take you down a different path. So this is about resetting the expectations and saying, well, good. Now that got out of the way. Now I'm ready for the good stuff. So always push towards the positive, and that's going to bring it to you faster. Rather than thinking, oh my gosh, now another thing happened. Look at this. Think, all right, good. We're good. We're done with that now. Now it's on to the positive. On to the positive is what this card is showing you. Okay. So really nice way to end this for this month as some construction is getting done on the exterior. So time to get to work, just like the construction folks are, right? All right. So I love what I see. I think you have a really great 6 to 8 week period ahead of you. And I hope you look forward to it. And I hope that this gave you some clarity that you need as well. A couple of quick notes as I'm wrapping up here. I have a special Halloween show coming through on, it was so funny. Someone said, when is that? It's on Halloween. It's on the 31st. It'll be at 9 a.m. on a Sunday. It's going to actually coincide with a collective. So that's coming up in a couple of weeks. And we'll be doing a special reading at that point on those who have been departed. We'll be doing something to close any sort of old energy between you and your ancestors or those who have passed. So we'll definitely be focusing on something Halloween themed, but in a very spiritual way. So feel free to join me if you want to. I'm live every Sunday. If you haven't looked at my weekend collective, you should take a look at it. I do a 7-day forecast and I do a special topic. So you can take a look at this week's and see if it kind of connects with you. It was a cool one, and it's something that I might add to my readings, which is, what if a future you could come in and give yourself advice? And we have like this time traveling telegram. So I may have that telegram as a permanent feature on some of my readings, and I'll let you know. All right, I'd like to take a couple minutes right now to say thanks to everyone. Before I do that, just a couple of final notes here. Again, for those of you that have given back, thank you. I'm going to say thank you in just a second. Again, apologies. I had a neighbor that moved out, so they're repairing my downstairs apartment. So you're going to hear the construction. All right. Again, you can follow me on social media, Nicholas Ashbaugh, also on Twitter and Ashbaugh. And if you are interested in my book, the 1 year anniversary of the Luminous Ones just is going to come up also on Halloween. It's available behind me. I know that they're releasing Dune, the movie. It's very much in that sort of vein of fantasy, and it's a bigger read. So for those of you that like sci-fi and fantasy, take a look. For the rest of you, just show up here because we always talk about fantastic things. If you are watching on replay and you want to give back, thanks. Right by share as a way to do that. All right, let's say thank you to everybody that contributed today. Give me one moment to open up a tab here and take a look at it. And again, thanks for being patient on the construction. Today, we still have the shadow of retrograde between getting a cut on my lip and the hammers outside. You just have to have a sense of humor about it, everyone. Otherwise, it drives you crazy. So I'm going to start with the memberships first. I saw we have a few new members. There was a bunch that joined yesterday, but I think Kayla Croy rejoined today. And there's a bunch of new ones here, and it's hard to kind of see who did it yesterday and who did it today. So I'm just going to quickly go through it. So Kayla, Vicky Lopez, Lorraine, Terry G, Deborah Epstein, Cindy Toshik, Diane Spencer, My Little Margie, Jay Bird, Kayla Murphy, and Popcorn. They're all new, either joined or rejoined. So thank you to all of those members for becoming a part of the family. It's good to have you here. And now for the people today that gave back with a super sticker or a super chat. Let's see who did that. I'm just waiting for this to load. So 1 second here. All right, so super stickers and super chat. Because of retrograde, it's not loading all the way. So I see Tashay B, Allison Brooks, Alma, Michelle Hanman, Warrior Sisters of Light, Darcy Rollins. And for some reason, it won't load the rest, but let me see if I can get it in a different window. If not, trust that I see it. I do look at it, but again, retrograde. We're still in the shadow today, so there's going to be a couple of things that are, kind of working themselves out. I'm going to try one more window and see if I can see the rest, and I cannot. So I'm going to quickly take a look here. I see Lila. Thank you so much, and I hope that I caught the rest of you. And if I didn't, apologies. I just can't see the rest today. So thank you so much. Technology permitting, I always say thank you, but for today, we're just going to sort of like let this go. A cut, some construction, and some computer issues. We're almost out. I'm looking forward to the week ahead. Just a reminder what I'm doing the rest of this week. I will be doing 2 more readings on Thursday and Friday of this week. So coming up on Thursday, October 21st is Sagittarius. On Friday, October 22nd is Capricorn. The next weekly collective will be this Sunday, the 24th. I have Aquarius and Pisces next week on the 25th and 28th, and the Halloween collective on Halloween, the 31st. All of these are always at 9 a.m. Pacific time unless otherwise stated. So thank you so much, everyone. Have a fantastic day. Much love and light, and take care. Thanks again to Maria for her assistance in moderation as well. All right, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye. And much love and light from Apollo in the background, who's taking a little nap. All right, everyone. Thank you. Bye-bye.